Gahr's family.
You didn't say where you've been.
To see Nan.
And her parents, Mr. and Mrs.
But why?
To give a hand with things. She was so glad to see us.
Mr. Johnson, by the way, is very glad to see me.
How can you give a hand with things? What were you trying to do?
We told you.
Diane, you be the spokesman.
We told Nan we wanted to hear about a delicate matter.
That's you, Donnie.
No interruptions, Ted.
First we talked to Nan. Then her parents came. So we talked to them. Then they served refreshments. Sorry.
You haven't said what you guys talked about. What was it all about?
How we don't want to be a nuisance, especially for our brother and his girl, and how they shouldn't stay apart. They shouldn't stay apart on our account because we wouldn't bother them. We said we'd make a promise and sign our names.
Witness.
Because we shouldn't be selfish. After all, we've already had a lot of time with our brother Donnie.
The spokesman.
I explained this would apply to all of us, later to include Gregory. Be it agreed, although we love our brother, we will respect his and Nan's privacy, always and forever. Holidays included.
So, that's why you went up there.
Well, before we left, I told Nan that we certainly didn't blame her for feeling that way, and we certainly appreciated the way she felt. I mean, we didn't need for her to feel embarrassed. I told her, who wants a bunch of brothers and sisters all over the place anyway?
Well, I guess I do. My brothers and sisters all over the place. Holidays included.
Now, Donnie.
Go right ahead, son.
Having a lot of brothers and sisters, it's all sorts of problems. And I can give 10 reasons against it any day of the week. But it's worth it. More than worth it. In fact, I'm so lucky. But a person shouldn't have to find out a thing like that. A person should just know.
Well, I don't see any objection to you finding out for yourself.
Whoa, wait a minute. What about the agreement?
We've gone to a great deal of trouble.
The walk did you good.
But what will Donnie say to Nan?
What will he tell her now?
It takes two sides for an agreement. Now, actually, what did they say?
Actually, well, mostly if we would like more ice cream.
And things like, coax anybody?
I wouldn't call that a binding commitment, but it was friendly of them.
Ted, would you hang up those things?
No reason for waiting now. I've started the popcorn.
I thought you were watching from the kitchen.
I've been watching. Hey, I see you worked out the agreement with Nan and her folks.
What do you mean, you see?
They just drove up outside.
You mean,
Nan, her mom, and her dad.
not really?
Well, look out the window. They're just getting out of their car.
But why?
Probably they're returning our call. Maybe they want to make one of those binding commitments.
Of course, I bet Nan wants Donnie.
Hey, listen! The main reason I came in here, what I really wanted to say was, my popcorn! It's beautiful, glorious. It's going off like machine guns. No, like artillery. Pow! Pow!
You better get back to it.
You're right. Hey, Tim.
Are the Johnsons here?
Yeah.
Well, at least I think you can offer a wider selection this time.
Thank you, Donnie. It's yours.
Please, come in.
Good evening, Reverend Doss. Mrs. Doss.
We're so glad you could make it. Kids, help them with their things. Mr. Johnson wanted to drive your youngsters home, but they were determined to walk.
Well, we wanted to practice our Christmas carols.
My mother says we still need practice.
We aren't supposed to be here yet, but we figured you'd take advantage of your invitation.
Not supposed to be.
That's all intended to.
Here, be very careful.
You serious? I'm Mr. Johnson.
Didn't expect to see us so soon again, did you, Ted?
You're welcome anytime.
Would you like a sandwich? They're chicken sandwiches.
Come on. Please, sit down. Of course. I'll go back on my diet after the holidays. Good?
before I take a bite, let me ask you one thing. Is this chicken?
Yes, it's chicken.
All right. You see, we had such a pleasant surprise visit.
And such perfect behaviors, such lovely manners.
You hear that, Mother?
A miracle comes over them once they enter somebody else's house.
Oh, they brighten up our house.
I bet it must get pretty lonely. I mean, in a big house like that.
It's a lonely kind of house.
What I'd like to know is, how many bathrooms do you have?
I'm not sure. Offhand.
Imagine not knowing how.
Dad, aren't you going to...
Oh, yes, the visit to our lonely establishment wasn't entirely social. There was a business side to it.
They've been explaining.
I was hoping, if we left at once, there'd still be a few minutes to talk before everyone else got here.
Well, you're absolutely the first.
You see, they proposed a sort of agreement, and given the details, they must have given it a lot of thought.
They had it all worked out, everything. And when we finally realized what they were offering,
You decided to come over? Nan, that offer, the agreement, I couldn't live with a thing like that.
Donnie,
And I'll feel worse later, but
please.
I couldn't, ever.
I know, Donnie. I know before I came. So did Mom and Dad. Don't you think they know anything?
Well, I thought you'd come because, well, obviously, I assume...
A very bad habit, son.
The reason we came, it was because...
As I recall, just as our young visitors were leaving, I remarked casually to my daughter, "Wouldn't you like to have such brothers and sisters?" Then, shortly, we were flying down the road.
Would you like to be our sister, Nan?
I'd be proud if I could be your sister, and Rita's and Diane's.
They're pretty good sisters, Nan.
And I wouldn't mind a big bunch of brothers. I couldn't think of anything nicer than having them over for Christmas, and Washington's birthday, and National Cleanup Week. Now you know. That's what I wanted to tell you. That's why I came.
Nan, that's the most beautiful... But what about you?
Oh, and all our relatives?
My husband has been very disturbed and upset ever since the last time we were here.
It brought back something that I don't usually like to think about. The best friends I've ever had were a bunch of roughs out in the oil field, various ancestry, mostly Mexican. Anyway, we fought through some terrible trouble together, until at last we finally made it.